In fact, the existence of evil is actually an argument for God's existence, not against God's existence. You guys know that? So if someone says there is so much evil in the world, therefore I'm not going to be a theist or a Christian, you should point out, okay, so you agree that there's evil in the world. It's not just ice cream. It's not just personal preference. Like, you think there's real evil out there. They're going to say, yeah, of course I do. Look at all the evil in the world. Okay, so if you want to say something's evil, you must have a standard on which to adjudicate between good and evil. That's outside of us. Well, it turns out the only standard outside of us that actually puts any moral obligation on us is God. And so this is actually an argument that many philosophers use for God's existence. If evil exists, therefore God exists. Okay? And so we shouldn't shy away from that. In fact, C.S. Lewis, standard reading for all Christians should be Mere Christianity. And in his book, he says, my argument against God was that the universe seems so cruel and unjust. But how had I gotten this idea of just and unjust? A man does not call a line crooked unless he has some idea of a straight line. What was I comparing the universe to when I called it unjust? Of course, I could have given up my idea of justice by saying that it was nothing but a private idea of my own, personal preference, ice cream. But if I did that, then my argument, the problem of evil, against God collapsed too. You get it? So C.S. Lewis, he was an atheist. He moved to eventually Christianity. And this was one of the powerful arguments that got him there. Now listen, notice I'm not saying this because a lot of people will leave here and say, yeah, those atheists, they're so immoral or something like that. Notice I'm not saying that you must believe in God to be moral. We already said it's written on all of our hearts, okay? Atheists can be just as moral and even more moral than Christians. Atheists can know right and wrong, good and evil, but here's the thing, they can't account for it. They can't ground it. And so an atheist can say that all of these things, sexual assault is wrong and murdering a child is wrong and so on and so forth. However, they can't ground it. They have no objective standard on which to make those moral pronouncements. In fact, this is the interesting thing, is the atheist, if they would like to make these moral claims, they have to borrow a theistic or Christian worldview to do that. One philosopher said, it's like the child who is held up by their father while the child slaps him in the face. They have to be actually held up to do that. And so these atheists, to argue against God, need God to make the argument.